Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. This is a special episode because it's 200th episode of Confessions of Bikini Pro podcast. That means we've probably interviewed over 180 IFBB bikini pros because we've had some, special series along the way and special episodes and whatnot. Just so amazing, this community. I'm blown away every single day, every single week. I'm so grateful for you listening. If this is your first time listening, awesome. I hope you love the podcast and go back and listen to lots of the episodes because I started this to shine light on the women of our sport who are building our sport up so much. Like the bikini division is incredible. All women of this sport are incredible. And I really think it's important that we show that amateurs and pros go through a lot of the same things. And it's really important that we shine light on all aspects of competing, not just the physical, right? And you guys who know me, you know that my mission is to help people to build more than just a body. And this platform has really given me an opportunity to showcase how important that really is. And today's episode is going to feature you guys. So I reached out on my Instagram, which if you're not following me, it's celestial_fit. And I asked on my story for the people who listen to the podcast to share their answer to 3 different questions. And these are questions you've heard on the show if you've been listening. And that is, what is your best advice for new competitors? What is your best advice for competitors on their road to pro? And this question, which is, what is a mistake you made in your journey? And what did you learn about it that can help someone else? Now, the reason I wanted to ask you guys who listen and on Instagram is because we get so much amazing information from each other. And this podcast would be nothing without you guys and this community. As of right now, I can't even believe it, but we're at 659,000 unique downloads. And this show has given me so many amazing opportunities and connections and friendships and just beautiful ways that we can all, stay together in this industry and in this sport. So let's get to it. I'm going to share what you guys submitted. So I'll be saying who submitted it and what their answer was, because got some really, really good insights here. There's some similarities across the board for sure. And as you guys listen, I'd love to hear maybe after what some of your key takeaways were, or what you would have said if you saw this story. Maybe you could post it on your Instagram and tag me so that I can repost it and we can continue to learn from each other. But without further ado, let's hear the answers. So let's start with the answers to the question of what is your best advice for new competitors? And the people who submitted answers have all competed before. So I'm going to share their name and what they said. So Esley said, ask your coach about which bikini color better suits you. Rosie says to make the effort to form a strong relationship with your coach and teammates. I can speak to that one too. Me and Rosie met actually at her very first posing session. And she definitely made an effort to stick together. And then I actually saw her again at a posing clinic. So she definitely practices what she preaches there. Lauren, a dietitian, says, be prepared to be hungry post-show and have a solid plan in place for your nutrition. I'll expand on that. Have a solid plan in place for your mindset as well. You can prepare, to be hungry and expect that. Also prepare yourself mentally for that, because a lot of times that hunger we're experiencing is psychological. Tara says, go watch a local show, ask a ton of questions, and start posing today. Mia who has been on the show, Mia Sanchez. She is an IFBB pro. She says, become your best daily by being present. Love that. We've got another great submission here from Brianna. She actually had submitted a what's it called? Like a little audio clip. I think it was for the 100th episode, or I don't remember exactly what it was for, but she told a really funny story. I don't know if you guys heard that, you would recognize her, but she says, make sure you're in a good place mentally before starting a prep. And she has a great story. I've posted her on my client testimonials page. So you guys, I mean, she's really great. I am really happy that she said that. Michelle says, wait to start prep until you've put on more muscle. Again, you guys were going over advice for first-time competitors. So next, we'll talk about advice for girls on the road to pro, and then we'll talk about some mistakes that have been learned from. Heather says, practice posing before you're in prep. Go to a show in person before you get into prep and prepare for the financial commitment. My girl, Shantae Turner, she's been on this show before. Definitely go listen to her episode. She says, don't focus on the win. Every great competitor has lost looking their best. Whew, love that point. I've been training with Shantae every week. It's been awesome. She's a shoulder queen. Definitely hit her up for that. We got Jenny. Jenny's been on the show before too. She was just on the show actually. So she says, trust the journey, give your all / control your controllables every day and enjoy it. Yeah, enjoy it for sure. I love that. Alrighty. I've got some people here whose name is not on their profile, so I'm gonna have to figure those people out. So Steph says, train like it's your first day, diet like it's your last. Amazing. Brittany, she says, don't just go for the first coach you find. Research and make sure you'll get the attention you need. Try out lifestyle or a pre-prep phase before going all in on prep. Totally. I second that. Irene, she says, make this a lifestyle first before anything. So again, echoing that point, build a solid muscle foundation before trying to get lean. Yes, I wish I could go back and tell my initial, or I should say my younger self that. Kayleen says it's not a diet competition. It's a muscle building competition. Yes, Lexi Maitland, love you, girl. She says it's a marathon, not a sprint. Don't rush the process or rush the stage. 100%. You guys hear me say it all the time. Why rush when you can relish? We have Emily. She says, build the muscle first and don't let your placing dictate how you feel about yourself, for sure. Jody, who is just on the show also, she says, don't compare yourself to others. This is your journey. This point is really echoed a lot of these points I'm just loving, but give yourself plenty of time to practice posing and create your routine. Hire a posing coach. We have someone else's page. She says, find a posing coach in person if possible. Always practice even off season. Yeah, lots of posing advice here. Rachel says, don't rush the process. Claire says, put as much focus on your mental game as your appearance. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. If you guys are looking for mindset support, you guys know I have my on-demand mindset coaching platform for competitors. You can consider it the Netflix for mental gains as a competitor. That's at celestial.fit/on-demand. Shameless plug because it's amazing and I built it for you guys. Alrighty. So then we have Christine who says, if you're new, wait until you're truly ready to get on stage. And I think that definitely depends and changes for everybody. So definitely get with a coach that you trust for that as well. And then Carly, who is just on the show too, she says, spend time building before you jump into a prep. Don't rush to the stage. Absolutely. So the last couple responses for the best advice for new competitors. Emily says, if someone puts you down, don't let it stop you. Run your own track. Love that. So empowering. So true, especially as you transition from season to season. I think that's really important. Denise says, don't compare your journey to others. Be the best you. Yes, my girl Melissa says, don't compare yourself. Echoing that point. Sally says doubting is part of the process, but trust your coach and don't give up. Yes, never give up. Heather says stay off your phone and take it in. Talk to people and ask questions. I'm assuming she's referring to when you're backstage. Simone says, be honest with your coach. You don't want them racking their brain solving for odd variables. I like that. I think to expand on that, like share as many variables as you can with your coach. Ask your coach what variables they want you tracking and explore what variables you might be able to track that could make a difference in the approach or in your programming that you're not currently tracking. Actually, I think it was in the first coaches series. A lot of the coaches expand on some of the variables that they track with their clients, and maybe you could bring that to your coach or consider those coaches. And Simone also says, follow the plan. You've hired your coach for a reason. It's important to trust the process. Definitely. So I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. I'm not used to being the only one talking, but I want to just say thank you guys so much for all these submissions. It's awesome. I'm going to read the submissions now for what is your best advice for competitors on their road to pro? Mia Sanchez again. She is a IFBB pro. She says never obsess over a status in your life. Shantae Turner, also an IFBB pro. She says you won't turn pro until it's your time. So shift your focus to enjoying the ride. Really like that. Carly, she's also IFBB pro. She says, check your ego. As you start to win shows, don't let it get to your head. Work harder. Paige says, do not focus on the pro card. Enjoy the journey and experience of amateur shows. We've heard that point reiterated a few times on this show, that's for sure. Rachel says, enjoy the journey. Learn how to make the process sustainable and don't underestimate the importance of training your mind on a daily basis. Yes, Rachel came to my Build More Than Just a Body event. Rachel's been in my community. Rachel's been in my programs. She has, really committed to her mental health and it's paid off. So I'm really happy that she said that. We've got another submission here. Tara says, remember your why. Never stop learning. Heather says, not everything is in a straight line and your next show may not be the one you turn pro in. Jenny, also an IFBB pro, been on this show. She says, keep showing up improved no matter what. Delana says, take judges' feedback and execute, even if it means a long off season to grow. Yeah, I definitely, I'm taking an off season right now. I've been taking one since my last show and it's paying off, you guys, seriously, especially as I get, I'm aging too. So I'm just noticing more density, more maturity, a lot more strength, definitely worth it. If you're told to take time off, I remember when I was getting feedback from Sandy, she was like, you might be able to come back, in the spring. And then she goes, well, maybe the fall. And she's looking at my picture. She goes, yeah, or, fall, winter. I'm thinking this girl, she wants me to take time off. Sandy is telling me straight up. And she wrote next to my feedback, she wrote young. And I was like, yeah. So I don't have enough muscle at all. I don't have the shape. Well, I should say I don't have the muscle density I need, but she said I have the shape. So yeah, I saw that and I was like, okay, let's work, let's take the time off. And I can already tell it's made such a big difference. And I also think too, when you're taking time off, really be careful about not rushing into mini cuts or dieting, just because you're uncomfortable. I think you're really going to stunt your potential for success in the future. It's not worth it for 5 pounds, I don't believe at all. Unless your coach is directing you and believes that it's the best step for you. I just don't think you should seek it out yourself or try to hop into another prep. So let's go into the last question that I asked everyone to submit for is, what is a mistake you made in your journey and what did you learn about it that can help someone else? So I really like this question and I was really curious what people would say. By the way, I'm pretty much reading these for the first time while I'm reading them to you guys. It's really cool to be on this journey with you and learn from each other. We all have so many similar experiences. It's really beautiful. So Carly says, reverse properly. The effect it has on your mental game is just as big as the physical aspect. Paige says, communicate with a coach. Find one you're comfortable with and who cares about your mental health. Delana says, honestly, question your coach. He sent a simple typo in my show day protocol and it dramatically affected my placing. Judges looked at morning pictures versus stage pictures and said so. So ask questions. Needing clarity or explanation doesn't mean you don't trust them. I knew it seemed wrong, but I just thought I was supposed to trust. Now I know it's okay to ask the questions. I really like that. Ashley says, pay attention to what foods you don't digest well in off season because it will hurt later in prep. You guys, as I'm reading these, I'm just thinking, wow, these girls submitting these answers probably went through something and really learned, and now they won't make that mistake again. And I think there's a lot to be said about experience and time and always being willing to learn, never let yourself think you can't. Okay, here's some advice from Brittany. It doesn't always take 2 hours of cardio a day and 700, 800 calories a day. If a coach gets mad at you for getting a boyfriend, find a new coach and watch out for male coaches and how they approach check-ins, meetups, etc. And if counting macros, always check the serving size first. Yeah, for sure. Yes, especially like I know some wraps and stuff, like it'll say the grams, but then you weigh it out and it's definitely like half that. So I would be on the lookout for that too. I really like that advice. And she's looking out for us ladies. I think there's a lot of really good male coaches out there. There's also some who are taking advantage of women, unfortunately. So just being mindful of that and definitely vigilant, because unfortunately it's so easy how fast it can happen. And I've heard really horrible stories. And yeah, talk to other girls too who have worked with the coach before. I think that's important. Kayleen says her mistake that she learned from was doing too many shows and not taking the time to grow. Shantae says trying to follow the majority, being uniquely you is what will be rewarded. Yes, I like that. Heather says being 1000% obsessive over everything. If it wasn't done perfect, then start over. I believe that's what she was saying, but that might be a typo. But yeah, I tend to, I don't know. I tend to agree with this to an extent. If we obsess over everything and then it like leads us down this negative road, and then that's unsustainable moving forward, and we think that we're complete failures or we're not worthy of moving forward unless we were absolutely perfect, we will never move forward and we'll probably always stand in our way, because it's breeding that all or nothing mentality instead of like the sustainable long-term commitment mentality. So like, yes, in prep, there's really no room for error, but if you make a mistake, just tell your coach and I'm sure they can help you. You're never a lost cause at all. Of course, if it's really mental, then I would recommend maybe considering taking a different step. Michelle says, stop second guessing yourself. If you've hired a coach, trust them. Another person said, listen to your coach. This is from Tara. She says, posing is everything. Echoing the point of taking the time off, Allegra says, take time off, take the time to grow, not only your body, but mind as well. It made me take a step back and realize how fortunate I am to compete and set me up for a future of success in and out of the world of bodybuilding. I want to be in it for the long run. My body will thank me. Yes, 100%. That is exactly true. Like, if I truly believe, and the whole reason I preach build more than just a body is because I believe that if you have a mindset that's healthy and you really prioritize your mental health, then every prep and improvement season is going to be much more empowering and sustainable. And that's how we get where we want to go, right? Because people preach consistency and perseverance, but to have consistency and have perseverance, you also need an approach that you can commit to over long periods of time and trust as well. Speaking to that point, Mia says, honor your life stages. Yeah, so true. There's so many beautiful things to this life, and it is good to honor them. Couple more submissions. I think this is an interesting one. She says, this is from Emily. She says, I allowed petty gossip to affect me. And I would say, don't let petty gossip stop you from competing. Yeah, that's true. And similar to that earlier point about not letting what other people say get in the way of you going after what you want. Jenny says, overthinking and acting off emotion. So she's saying that was a mistake. And she's saying, trust your coach and maximize your efforts. Simone says, it's okay to be inspired, but don't forget to appreciate your own journey and set real expectations. Yeah, that's such a good point. Kind of branching off of the idea of comparison, like rather than comparing to someone else, really set expectations that are going to be serving for you and help you. I like that. Heather says, coach hopping because nothing happened in less than 3 months. Yeah, that is a big, big one. We can't expect results overnight especially with a new coach, like they have to learn your body. So obviously there's like reasonable considerations for this, but I think that at the end of the day, if you coach hop too much, you might be seeking something that first must come from within. So next one, Sally says, enjoy the process, whether it's 12 weeks or 24 weeks. If you enjoy prep, you will last. Like that a lot. Yes. Also, like if you can only do something for like 2 weeks and then you're expected to do that for 24 weeks, like you will not be able to have a successful year-round season. Like straight up, it needs to be something you can sustain. Now, of course, there's extreme parts to this sport and extreme parts to prep, and I'm not saying those necessarily need to be sustainable, but the majority of your efforts really should be or could be. Denise, last one, says, wrong bikini color, wrong coach, didn't do my homework. Yep. So, man, love these responses. I just am so grateful to have you guys so engaged and really willing to contribute to this show. I can't even believe this is the 200th episode. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from your fellow competitors. There's something so special about meeting you guys in person or chatting online and just connecting. At the end of the day, we're all human and we're all, which is a given, hopefully, and we're all pursuing this sport together. So it's really special. And I hope that this podcast continues to bring us all together. As I've been told, it's helped many people do that before. And that just makes me so, so happy. If you guys have anything positive to say about the podcast, it always means so much to me when you leave a review or rating on iTunes. That definitely goes a long way. So even if you just tap that 5-star icon, that's gonna help me. So I would really appreciate that. With that being said, thank you guys so much. Just thank you. Honestly, love that I get to do this. Love that I get to interview these pros. I've got some really special episodes coming out, actually. I reached out to Jen Dory, who's been on this podcast a few times. She's your Arnold champion and your Miss Bikini Olympia champion. She should be coming back on. So that's going to be amazing. So I would recommend you go back and listen to her personal episode from like years ago, because it was just awesome. I believe we recorded that actually the first year of the podcast. I want to say 2018 or 19, but if you go on celestial.fit/podcast, you scroll down to the category section, Jen Dory will be there. She's your current champion, your current representation of the bikini division. Definitely going to hopefully get her back on here. She said yes. So want to get that recorded for you guys and maybe do like a special release on that. And then I have some really great episodes pretty much lined up through the end of the year. By the end of this month, I should have all the rest of the episodes for this year lined up. And then in a few months, there'll be lots of new IFBB bikini pros. And you guys, I'm always open to your suggestions and athletes. I really have grown this platform to a point where it's awesome to have people reach out and want to be on the show, or have people recommend someone they want on the show. And I organize like a list of suggestions of athletes and people who we want to have on. And just knowing that they've been recommended, like when I reach out to an athlete or I have one of my team members do that, like it goes such a long way when they know that someone was like, hey, can you get so-and-so on? And like, it's really cool and so genuine and a testament to this amazing community that we're all part of. So again, thank you guys for listening. Happy 200 episodes.